Welcome, I'm Michael from Opeth. We're in my studio here, Junk Mill Studios, which is where I did the writing for the songs on, say, Watershed, the last record, and also the new one, Heritage. Wrote all the songs here and recorded all the demos here. Basically what we're doing is a little film, as everybody else is doing when they're recording, because everybody needs information all the time, available 24/7, because that's how people work these days. As you know, I'm talking English, and as the film we're gonna go into the studio and you're gonna see the band in its natural habitat, and we're not gonna talk English because we don't really talk English amongst each other because we're Swedish. Why I'm doing it now is because I know I'm being filmed, and I kinda realize I sound awkward when I'm talking in my native tongue, when I know that I'm being filmed, pretty much like a bad actor, like Keanu Reeves in Dracula, or something like that. Sorry. Basically everything was recorded onto this computer, the demos, and we're gonna use those demos as a template for the actual recording of the album. We're just gonna exchange everything, all the synthetic sounds that, say for instance, I recorded on the keyboard, like the Mellotron plugins and stuff like that, are gonna be replaced with a real Mellotron, a real Fender Rhodes, a real Hammond organ, and so forth, you know. And obviously real drums, because I'm using like a plug-in drum thing to get drums on the demo. So yeah, you're gonna see all that later. But basically, yeah, this is it. You know, it doesn't take so much. You know, it's, you know, the good thing for me is that I'm a musical genius, so I can just basically come up with a masterpiece on a clapping my hands. You know. There you go. I'm sitting here with the guitar as well, you know, not playing it as you realized, and it's not really necessary for the shot, but it kind of looks good. It kind of looks a bit like Bryan Adams hanging around, you know. It's a nice guitar. For the coming 21 days, we're gonna record this album Heritage in a studio called Atlantis Studio, which was used to be called Metronome Studios, and lots of famous, in particular Swedish artists recorded there, like ABBA did all their records up until they opened their own studio, so some of the classic ABBA songs have been recorded there, and shitloads of Swedish artists, and even Lenny Kravitz's been there, I heard. But it's a nice studio, and we're going to be working with the engineer called Janne Hansson, he's the owner of the studio and has been working there since the early 70s basically. You're going to meet him, very nice old gentleman. And obviously all the other guys, Martin Mendes, our bass player, Per Wiberg, our keyboard player. Notice I'm saying their names in like an English accent now because it sounds cool. Fredrik Åkesson on the lead guitar, and obviously Martin Axelrod on the drums and percussion on this album, and myself, Michael Ackerfelder. This is basically how interesting music looks on a computer when it's been recorded. We got drums, bass, guitar, keyboards and vocals. This particular track is a song that I'm writing together with Fredrik. It doesn't have a name right now, it's just called Fredrik, which might be the actual title because it's a fucking cool title. Is it interesting? Well, when I hit this button here on the computer, that's my finger, boom, song's gonna start. Woo! Lush. And yeah, it doesn't really take much. Just some like a mixing. This is my mixing thing. It's all you need basically. Some volume basically. Some shit lyrics. Tune machine. Started singing. Famous telephone effect on the voice there. The logo for the studio. Lately I've been, or we collectively as a band, been thinking about our musical future in many ways, and I know that we're considered a metal band, and in many ways I still think we are a metal band, but it depends on what you mean by metal. I love metal as a form of music. It's what sparked my interest in music. It was what made me. It's what made me want to pick up the guitar and play myself, be in a band and all that stuff. But you know, I've been in a band for 20 years now, and I was writing songs for what's gonna be the 10th album, what's gonna be Heritage, in the, so to speak, classic or standard or whatever you want to use, or whatever word you want to use, way that in the traditional Opeth style, whatever that is. But it was metal songs, and I listened to it and I just didn't feel it in my heart that this is what I want to do.
When I heard first time the demos, it was at Mike's place. He had a party that day, so we took a listen. We were pretty much drunk at that time, and I just, from nowhere, I say to him, like, if that's gonna be the next Opeth album, I will be disappointed.
I just didn't feel it in my heart, so I just, basically there was like 2 10-minute songs, I just marked all of them up, hit delete, and then I saved it, and they're gone forever. And it was a relief, and then I kind of started over, and the songs came out the way they did, you know, because that's the type of music that I like now, and that's always been the case for Opeth. I've always been writing music that I like, and whenever I'm in doubt of our musical future or what people are gonna think, I'm just like, fuck that, man, you know, just do what you like, because it kind of worked for 20 years. I always wrote songs and music that I personally want to listen to, and this is no exception to that rule.
There is a different direction on this record, which when I heard about the direction I was a bit like, oh, are we really gonna do this? But then when I heard the songs back at Mike's house, I was there doing some guitar solos. I really liked what he had come up with.
We needed to do something different, play something different, and explore the other kinds of music that we want to play and that we listen to.
I'm not really worried, you know, if I can love the songs, and I hope you're gonna like them too, you know, even though it's, I guess, a little bit different from what you've heard from Opeth. But yeah, I hope you're gonna like it, you know. It's we're gonna record 12 songs, I think, or 12 or 13 songs, and I wrote all of them pretty much on my own, apart from one song that I wrote together with Fredrik. But we're all gonna come together as a band, and it's the same as always, you know. I've basically always been writing all the songs, and have all the other guys come in and just make the songs their song as well, you know. Translate their own feelings into this song and into the playing of this particular song, you know. Yes, we're gonna do it a bit more old-fashioned, you know. We're gonna use a Pro Tools rig and record everything on, because it's simply so much easier, you know. We recorded on 2-inch tapes like these, you know, the way it's on, you know, and you can fit 16 minutes of music onto one of these. And having long songs like us, like in the past we had like songs of 10, 12, 30 minutes long, and then you're wasting like 5 minutes on each tape, and they cost a lot of money actually, and it's just big hassle to record. Not sure if they sound better. So we're recording onto a Pro Tools rig because it's superior to me. It's just easier. But we're doing it in an old traditional way. We're not gonna do too much editing. The idea is to record as much as possible live, at least the drums and bass, and see how that goes, and just use an old real sound for the instruments. You know, I'm really tired of that whole metal productions where the drums don't really sound like drums anymore, you know. And we've been kind of caught up in that little thing ourselves, you know. We trying to make the drums sound like a drum machine basically, which is fucked up. What we're gonna do with this album is make everything sound earthy and real, and make the instruments sound like instrument sounds, you know, like musicians, actual people playing them, as opposed to a computer playing it. You know, we're just recording onto a computer, and that's it. And also the guitar sounds, I think you're gonna notice it's a bit different than what we've had in the past, and that's basically we're just gonna cut a lot of distortion, and what that's gonna mean to myself and Fredrik as guitar players is that we're gonna have to struggle more, and we have to play better in order to make it sound good. And that was one of the first ideas I had about this album, about Heritage, was that we're gonna suffer playing these songs. You know, we're gonna have to leave a bit of our own personality into these songs. And if we don't feel good, we're not really gonna play good. You know, we have to, I don't know, project your feelings and emotions for real onto the music. You know, when you're in a metal band, so to speak, and you got like shitloads of distortion and mezzo boogie, a rectifier, triple rectifier, whatever they're called, and you got active EMGs and all that stuff. You know, you can basically feel like shit, and it's still gonna sound alright. You know, but I want it to be more emotional this time around, so it's going to be really interesting to see what it sounds like. And it's the same for everyone, you know. We'll see how it goes, but I think for some reason I think we're going to come together as a band more than we've ever had before, because everybody's going to have to really focus on everything. I'm going to try and be some type of producer for this album and kind of oversee everything, and then we're gonna go to England, to Stephen Wilson's studio, or wherever he wanna be, and just let him look into doing a mix for this album, and I'm gonna be there with him, probably gonna film him as well, even though he's an ugly cunt. So yeah, you're gonna see the whole process of making a record. Or at least how we make records, you know. Maybe it's a bit different than how you make your records. So, well, today is the 31st of January, and it's the first day of our recording of the 10th Opeth album, Heritage. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. Thank you. It's my car. It's a Volvo. Golly, it's a Volvo in Sweden. That's a twat right there.
Hello?
På väg till studion.
On our way to the studio.
Kom ett flygplan.
Here comes the airplane.
Maybe it's gonna crash somewhere. Kör säkert på den apparaten.
That means driving car according to speed limits. Safe driving, both hands on the wheel.
Ena handen klockan 2, andra handen klockan 10.
One of the hands 2 o'clock, the other hand 10 o'clock. So this is the secret passage. You don't have both hands on the wheel, no. See?
Sorry. Heavy traffic.
Like New York.
Like New York. Get some real pants, you whore.
Old slab.
Slab. Slag. Vad heter floden här under? Va?
Kvaj.
Kwai. Bron över floden Kwai.
Viking Street.
Vi är framme, studion ligger där framme. Den träramen där.
Träram, zoomar ut.
Här sitter Janne, surfar porr. Gör han. Ja, här är gamla grejer. Jag såg gamla foton härifrån och den här bandan har alltid stått där, verkar det som.
Vilken då?
Den gamla bandan, ja.
Ja, fast det, i och för sig det var en Ampex-band där förut.
Okej, då har den alltså inte alltid stått.
Inte alltid, men länge. Väldigt länge.
Jag tror det fanns väl se där.
Snabba på.
Då ser de att jag sätter det på själv.
Ja. Så ska det vara.
Hur känns det, Axelrot? Ja?
Jävligt bra.
Hör det fattas någonting på den här hängpukan? Vad ska jag göra?
Det är så det ska vara.
Inga symboler heller. Det gör de med munnen.
Ja, det lägger jag efteråt då.
Med munnen.
Ja.
När du spelar.
Med lite delay och sånt va?
Mendes Åkesson. Han står här. Drar i kablarna. Drar i
Snablarna.
tåten. Sandra, vad ska du göra här?
Ska fota lite.
Ja. Se till att inte få med några dubbelhakar på mig. Smal och snygg ska jag göra. Ett gammalt nivbord. Är det bra grejer det?
Ja, det är faktiskt.
Och så en dator. Sign of the times. Här har vi lite gamla grejer. Jag hoppas vi ska kunna använda här snart. De här gamla bandekorna. Men särskilt den här gitarren där det saknas en sträng. Den har vi tänkt använda mycket.
Drumming was amazing. It was such an experience to play with him. He's an extremely good drummer. Never play with somebody like him. He performs. He delivers every time. Doing rehearsals, live performance, studio is almost out of this world.
Very personal record in how you play and how you deliver the songs. I think it's a lot of human touch to every instrument and singing as well.
I came up with this song, Lines in My Hand, which was the first one. And it's a bit of an oddball song. But it's quite, again, it's quite fun. It's very intense in some way, like the ending part of that song is very intense, I think, and featuring the best drumming ever in Opeth, I think. You know, Axe is just, I mean, going crazy. Plain and simple.
Ja, gitarrpedal faktiskt.
Ja, men det lät bra, va?
Grymt.
Var du nöjd?
Väldigt nöjd.
Hur nöjd är du ungefär?
Jättenöjd.
Everybody is in there, like you listen to the album, you can hear everyone perfectly, and especially Mendes is right up there, which is, you know, I mean, he was quite happy to be so much in the forefront of the production for once, being a bass player in a metal band or whatever you call it now.
Mendes did an awesome job. We could use more distortion on that one instead of doing it like a big wall with distorted guitars.
Hey Mendes! Bra ljud. Jan har rattat till ett suveränt ljud, måste jag ändå säga, va?
Fantastiskt. Det är skönt att spela.
Blygsam där. Sa han. Var väl inget.
Ny bryggare här i studion.
Hur gick det igår då, Kudde?
Fantastiskt bra. Ax gjorde en låt. Och Mendes.
Spela in en låt då.
De hittade på den också.
Här har du kaffe. Torka rent efter dig.
Ja.
Precis som när du har varit på toa. Toalettsätet är fullt av piss, va? Torkar du rent?
Ja. Korrekt.
Oj. Kontoret på Atlantis ser ut sådär. Där inne finns en graveringsmaskin. Jag vågar inte gå in. Jag orkar inte gå in. Här är ett litet hängrum, kan man väl säga. Ett troll! Ja. Ett troll. Vi har väl varit här en vecka snart. Imorgon har varit här en vecka. Alla trummor är snart klara och all bas snart klart. Så att vi making good fucking progress, dude. Här ligger min gamla gitarr. Här, ja, så här ser det ut. Vi kräver blommor då. Annars tänker vi inte spela in. Det ska stå violetta tulpaner. Annars så ska någon få heads are gonna fucking roll. Violetta tulpaner eller you're fired. Kolamaskin. Dricker inte sån här skit. Kjell Höglund. Korridor. Stol. Bet you can't play this.
Otäckt när du filmar alltid.
Ja. Ska vara otäckt.
Kacka.
Här ligger lite gitarrer. Lite pedaler. Det är Kulles pedaler. Här står en Fender Strata och en PRS. Vad det nu är för någon. En Tremonti är det kanske. Nej, S. Single cut. Någon SG och en gammal Tele och en gammal Strata till. Där här en Gibson-stärkare som vi ska använda som är jävligt coolt alltså. Och sen har vi riggen med 2 stycken Black Stars och en Marshall, gammal Marshall som låter bra också. Här har vi en PRS, vad fan heter det nu då? JA15. Har vi spelat mycket på faktiskt. Jättefin gitarr. Här har vi en McCarthy 2, jag tror den heter. En Fender Strata. Här har vi en samling gitarrer. På PRS som Fender Strata. Här står det flera Fender Stratter. Gammal skit. Här har vi en SG och en Strata till och en Les Paul. Med hål i. Så det var slarvigt. De har glömt sätta dit en mick här.
Kör på. Det ska inte mycket va?
Ja.
Är disten på nu också?
Nej, det låter ganska bra så här ändå.
Ja, det är jättebra. Det behöver inte vara så mycket dist på det här partiet.
Nej, det var det.
Men här på då blir det... varies a bit from day to day, va? Men vi har we have a tornado phaser and Black Star distortion box.
Why are you speaking English?
And we also have the micro amp, MXR.
It's not connected.
But it will be eventually. It's a classic. Can't live without it. Va? Tänkte prova en ny approach, köra de där grejerna. Jag vet, jag skojade. Ja. Nej, det är sant. Konstnärligt.
Please don't touch. Please don't take pictures. Please don't touch. Please don't touch. Please don't touch.
Dryg jävel. Tyckte hon det där?
Trött. Ledsen.
Hej Magnus.
Hej hej.
Hej Mikael.
Fuck off.
Vad så farbrorn då? Ja.
Jag hör någon. Ja. Jag ska se vem det var. Men titta! Mr. Wiberg. Wiberg. Han kommer in. Här har vi Jan. Jobbar. Jan lägger en kabel här. Ställt ut ett kylskåp. Fullpackat med bärs. Till hemlig stash. Det här är en så kallad... Vi går in lite närmare så ser ni vad det står det här. Lelle. Det ska spelas lite på organet här. Dras i organet.
Ja, just det. Kan du din Atomic Roaster-läxa nu då?
Nej. Elektronen. Fin. Här håller de på här ute. Donar. Axelrot ska paja.
Vad gör du för något?
Ska vi byta ljud? Det är inte som en Roland RX7 direkt.
Nej. Lite mer av den gamla skolan kan man säga då.
Old school.
Då ska det alltså bytas en bandram.
Det är bara att plugga in via USB. Körde plugg mycket bättre, mycket snabbare.
Är det midi-synk på det här?
Midi-synk om med...
Ska vi se. Vad gör man? Försiktigt.
Inga flåtfläckar på banden nu.
Det är inte så svårt om man har instruktionerna där på... Då ser man ju precis som ska.
Men då tycker jag att du ska göra
Här är ljudet.
Det ser ut som en... När man tömmer en...
Ljudet.
En sån här bikupa.
Obviously, things happened during the recording that resulted in Per not being with us anymore. But he plays on the album and he does a really good job.
It's a sad thing. He's a great musician and a great friend.
It all comes down to people changing, and I guess he didn't really want to be there, and I think you have to earn your place in the band. If you don't want to be with Opeth, you shouldn't. In fact, you're not allowed to be with Opeth unless your heart is all there, and that wasn't the case for Per.
We wish him all the luck, and we're still really good friends with him. And I wish him the best.
I have a bunch of favorite songs. I guess I like all of them, otherwise they wouldn't be there on the album. Or, we wouldn't have recorded them if we didn't really like the songs. But my favorites would be Hexprocess, which is in the middle of the album. I don't really know why, I just like that song. I like the melancholic feel of that song. It also has some type of drive musically that I kind of like, and I like the ending part, it's quite emotional. I also like The Devil's Orchard, which is going to be the first single, if you believe in singles. It's a pretty driving song. There's a reason why we put it first on the album. I think that's the song that is more instant. There's a good chance you're gonna like that song. My original plan was to have the third song first, I Feel the Dark, but talking to Steven Wilson, he said okay, we have the intro song, Heritage, the piano piece, that's the intro of the album, and then kick in with Devil's Orchard. And I was like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So I did bend over a little bit for him.
On the first track, which is an instrumental column piece, which is, I would say, quite influenced by John Johansson, was played by Jocke Svalberg, and it was cool that he could play a bit on the album since he's now touring with the band.
We've done 3 shows with him so far, and we hope that he's going to stay with us. We'll see how that unfolds, but he's a really good musician, and a really nice guy, good singer, got a good sense of rhythm. The first time I ever heard him play was when he was in the studio recording the title track, the intro of the album, which I guess was quite a big thing for him. He didn't seem that nervous, he just nailed it pretty much, with the perfect type of emotion that we were looking for. Also featuring Mendes on upright bass for the first time. He's been talking about playing upright bass for a long time, so now I had his chance. We borrowed some old bass from a friend of mine.
For me it was a kind of challenge because I play double bass, standard bass, and I never did it before, so that was pretty cool to have it done.
I also like a song called Nepenthe. To be honest, I don't really know how to pronunciate it, but I took it from a record label, the title from a record label called Nepenthe, which I collect. They only put out 5 albums, I have all of them, of course.
Nepenthe, I really like it since first time I heard it. It's like a type of jazzy sound.
There's a song that some people probably think it's a joke, which, it is done a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and it's a bit gimmicky sounding and everything, but it's pretty far from a joke because it's actually a tribute to Ronnie James Dio, who passed away and who's meant so incredibly much for me throughout the years, and I still can't believe he's gone. And it's kind of feeble, the things that you do to kind of pay tribute to someone, but I loved him, and we all did, and his music still brings shivers down my spine. So this song Slither is made as a tribute to him. Maybe some of you think we should have left it off the album, but I think it's fun, it kind of creates some type of dynamics to the album, Famine is another really cool song. It's very strange and experimental.
John Jason Lind, who played a flute solo over this heavy doom part, which really is far out.
Just playing, we recorded him walking up to the microphone, which is what you hear in the beginning of the song. He was just kind of tuning up or whatever they do. I don't know how it works, I can't play the flute or whatever. But we recorded him walking up to the microphone to record his part. So that's the actual start of the song.
He has an extreme, unique style, and the album is called Heritage, and kind of links together in a way because he used to record at the Atlantis Studios in the 70s.
playing percussion.
He's like a legend in drums and percussion. He used to play with Weather Report and even Elvis, I think.
Elvis, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Have you played with Elvis? No, you haven't. So yeah, he's doing a really cool. I think he brought like dried up goat's feet or something into the studio, like from the Machu Picchu or something. You know, it was amazing. You know, he listened to the track once, or the part that he's gonna play. He listened to it once and then just started doing his thing.
He took 2 takes, nailed it immediately, super pro, and it really sounded evil. Some ambient noises he did. I think it was with chains or something.
And then he came out into the mixing room, and we were like, yeah, thank you.
And when Alex Acuna came down to the studio, Mendes was recording this bass part. And Mendes been listening to Alex since he was 12 years old. And he kind of freaked out.
for me was really special because I've been listening to his work for years. It's Alex Acuna. It was amazing to have him in the same room and watch him playing.
So, do you do Melando Basama?
Yeah, I worked with him many years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
Esta es la batería, este es el bajo y este es el que te habla de adentro. Así que la música es esta
Yeah,
y
okay.
aquí está el ritmo.
Okay.
So don't mind the noise.
I don't. Yeah, I got it.
Spooky, I love it. Vocally, you know, as you notice, there's no screams, and I'm not saying that's the end of my screams, you know. I still like to do it occasionally, you know, like playing live and stuff like that. And also I recorded for Devin Townsend, was the last type of screaming vocals I did. So I enjoy it, you know, it's just that this time around there was no room for it, you know, the songs came out this way, I didn't want to do some death screams just for the sake of having it in there, because some fans think that's our sound, you know. I mean, it is part of our sound in the past, but you know, I don't want to linger on the past too much. I like to move on, and I'm also really interested in developing that cleaner voice of mine. I enjoy singing. I sing in the shower all the time, stuff like that.
The songs on the album are really cool, a bit different from earlier Opeth stuff. It has less death element parts in it, but still you can hear it's Opeth.
I know it's going to cause probably divide people within our fan base or whatever, but I mean, I don't want to stay the same, man. You do a thing, you come up with a sound, and then you might stick with that sound for a string of records, for a record or two or something like that, and then it feels like you saturate things, and you literally have to move on. I think that was why Heritage sounds the way it did, because I personally felt that I couldn't write songs better than in the Watershed style than what's on Watershed.
the cover of the album, I think, is really suitable for the music on the album. I know it was a dream Michael had when he came up with the idea.
It caused quite a stir in the metal underground, or whatever you call it, and which I like. A lot of people thought it was a joke, and I agree, it's funny. You know, I'm looking at it, I'm kind of laughing, and I think it's fun. But nice, I love it. You know, more colors than we ever had, and it got more of a psychedelic vibe to it.
It's maybe a bit shocking if you could compare it to the other album covers that Opeth has.
It feels like a kind of the history of the band and the future in some way.
The guidelines or whatever I told Travis Smith, who made the cover, was that I wanted to mix between Bruegel's cover, the one, like he did one called The Triumph of Death, El Triunfo, La Muerte or something, which is on the cover of the Black Sabbath Greatest Hits album, if you've seen that. So I wanted to cross between that one and Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. I like, in a way, that it caused such a big reaction. A lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it, and as I said, some think it's a joke. People are writing essays about it, you know, it's crazy. But I like that type of reaction. Rather have a reaction than just a shrug, so to speak. And the same goes for the music.
Every album is different with Opeth. I've been in the band now a bit over 4 years, but as a fan to the band as I was before I joined, I think the band has managed to achieve that.
And that's how we are. I like that idea of being a bit unpredictable, if you know what I mean. Some fans of any bands, they want the same, like they want their favorite albums to be recorded over and over again. But I mean, I've never been into that, you know. I like change in everything, I think. And with the reason why I became a musician was not to get, you know, boxed in, or to put some boundaries upon myself just because we've done a certain thing in the past, you know. It doesn't mean we have to repeat it over and over again. And some people even think that we have, you know, done the same album over and over again, which I don't like hearing, you know. But I do believe that we have a sound or something, you know, and for a couple of records we stuck to that sound, like Still Life and Blackwater Park. I see those two as connected. Deliverance is pretty much on its own, Damnation is on its own, Ghost Reveries and Watershed I think are connected, Heritage certainly on its own, Orchid and Morning Rise are kind of connected, My Arms, Your Hers on its own, I think. So I don't think we've repeated ourselves too many times, at least, you know. But by doing Heritage, I think we bought ourselves a little bit of a musical future, and I can see that we might come up with something interesting for the next record. And I already feel a bit excited about doing another album, which never happens, to be honest. I always feel like drained after a recording, and I do feel tired and everything like that, but I still feel excited about our musical future. Not saying that, you know, I personally don't want to repeat Heritage. I'd like to think that I evolve a little bit and do something new for the 11th record or whatever, but I think it's a good start for something, Heritage, right? Like a fresh start. The mixing, Stephen Wilson did a great job. I spent the time with him, recording some vocals down in his studio and mixing together with him. And we also finished up some writing for our own project while I was down there, drinking some wine, having a good time. And then I went down to master the album with Peter Mew at Abbey Road Studios. And he's worked there since '65 and done many of like the stuff I collect, you know, like the progressive psychedelic stuff. Some of those records I collect, he's engineered or produced. His first engineering job or producing job was SF Sorrow by the Pretty Things, which is an amazing album I've been listening to quite a lot. And he also did Carmen, Fandangos in Space, one of my all-time favorite albums. And Uma Gumma by Pink Floyd. He recorded a band called Forest, which is quite obscure folk. And Toe Fat, which was the Ken Hensley and Lee Kerslake from Uriah Heep. They had a band called The Gods before and then formed Toe Fat and then Uriah Heep. So he worked with that and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But he was so unimpressed with his previous, he's like, don't tell me Uma Gumma is your favorite album. I mean, he was so unimpressed with everything, unimpressed with everything that he'd done, and he was sitting there doing his thing. I only spent a few hours there, but that was pretty cool to be at Abbey Road. I'd never been there. So I felt like a kid in a candy store, kind of looking for like footprints that could have belonged to Paul McCartney or something. Or Pink Floyd for that matter.
The future now, when we release the album, we're going to tour our asses off as usual. Starting off in America by the time this is released. Then Europe, Japan, Australia, America again, Europe, festivals, etc., etc. Hopefully we get to go back to India again. That was really cool.
These songs are like nice to hear on the record and nice to play live. I think it's gonna work really well live.
So much live feeling on the record, so it's gonna be a lot of fun to play them live.
Playing live is also always fun, you know, but we're gonna be away from September till Christmas pretty much, which is a long time to be away from your family. And friends and whatever, you know, cats, record collection. I mean, we've been around 21 years now, 10 records down the line. I think we feel fresh, you know. Might not look it, but we feel like we still have something to offer to people who are interested in music that I like to think is without boundaries. Still, that's how we like it. I hope you enjoyed watching this DVD and listening to the album and checking out the pictures, and looking at the sleeve, and hope that you come and see us on tour for this album or for like whenever you choose basically. We're going to be touring quite a lot, so I hope to see you out there. Thank you.